What is the informal definition of a limit in calculus?
The limit of a function f(x) as x approaches a value c is the value that f(x) gets closer and closer to as x gets closer to c. We write this as lim xc f(x) equals L, meaning f(x) can be made arbitrarily close to L by choosing x sufficiently close to c.
What is the epsilon delta definition of a limit?
For every epsilon 0 there exists a delta 0 such that if 0 x minus c delta, then f x minus L epsilon. This formal definition precisely captures the idea that f x can be made as close to L as desired by restricting x to be close enough to c.
What does it mean for a function to be continuous at a point c?
A function f is continuous at c if three conditions hold. 1. f c is defined, 2. lim xc f x exists, and 3. lim xc f x equals f c. Intuitively, you can draw the graph through c without lifting your pen.
State the squeeze theorem.
If g x less than or equal to f x less than or equal to h x for all x near c, except possibly at c, and lim xc g x equals lim xc h x equals L, then lim xc f x equals L. This is useful for evaluating limits of functions trapped between two others that share the same limit.
What is a one-sided limit?
A one-sided limit considers the behavior of f(x) as x approaches c from only one direction. Lim xc f(x) is the right-hand limit and lim xc f(x) is the left-hand limit. The two-sided limit exists only if both one-sided limits exist and are equal.
What is the intermediate value theorem?
If f is continuous on the closed interval a, b, and n is any number between f a and f b, then there exists at least one value c in a b, such that f c equals n. This theorem guarantees that continuous functions take on every value between their endpoint values.
How do you evaluate lim x0 sin x/x?
The limit equals 1. This is a fundamental trigonometric limit often proved using the squeeze theorem with geometric arguments involving the unit circle. It is essential for deriving the derivative of sin x.
What does it mean for a limit to equal infinity?
Writing lim xc f x equals infinity means that f x grows without bound as x approaches c. The limit does not actually exist as a finite number. The notation indicates that f(x) increases past every positive value as x nears c.
What is a removable discontinuity?
A removable discontinuity at x equals c occurs when lim xc f(x) exists but either f(c) is undefined or f(c) is not equal to lim xc f(x). It can be removed by redefining f(c) to equal the limit, making the function continuous at c.
How do you evaluate the limit of a rational function as x approaches infinity?
Divide every term in the numerator and denominator by the highest power of x in the denominator. Terms with x in the denominator approach 0, leaving only the leading coefficients. If the degrees are equal, the limit is the ratio of leading coefficients.
What is the limit definition of the derivative?
The derivative of f at x is defined as f x equals lim h0 f x plus h minus f x slash h, provided this limit exists. This measures the instantaneous rate of change of f at the point x.
What is the alternative form of the derivative definition at a specific point a?
F a equals lim x a f x minus f a forward slash x minus a. This form is equivalent to the standard definition and is sometimes easier to apply when computing the derivative at a particular point.
What is the geometric interpretation of the derivative?
The derivative f a gives the slope of the tangent line to the graph of f at the point a f a. The tangent line is the best linear approximation to the function near that point.
If a function is differentiable at a point, is it necessarily continuous there?
Yes. Differentiability at a point implies continuity at that point. However, the converse is not true. A function can be continuous at a point without being differentiable there, e.g., f(x) equals x at x equals 0.
What does it mean when the derivative does not exist at a point?
The function may have a corner, cusp, vertical tangent, or discontinuity at that point. In each case, the limit defining the derivative fails to exist, so no unique tangent line can be drawn.
What is the physical interpretation of the derivative?
If s(t) represents position as a function of time, then s(t) is the instantaneous velocity, and s(t) is the instantaneous acceleration. More generally, the derivative gives the rate of change of one quantity with respect to another.
State the power rule for differentiation.
If f(x) equals x for any real number n, then f(x) equals nx superscript 1. For example, the derivative of x is 5x. This rule applies to integer, fractional, and negative exponents.
State the product rule.
If f(x) equals u, x, v, x, then f(x) equals u, x, v, x, plus u, x, v, x. In words, the derivative of a product equals the first function times the derivative of the second, plus the second function times the derivative of the first.
State the quotient rule.
If f(x) equals u, x slash v, x, then f(x) equals u, x, v, x, minus u, x, v, x, forward slash v, x, superscript 2. The mnemonic low d high minus high d low over low squared helps recall this formula.
State the chain rule.
If y equals f, g, x, then dy slash dx equals f, g, x, g, x. In Leibniz notation, dy slash dx equals dy slash do slash dx. This rule is essential for differentiating compositions of functions.
What is the derivative of sin x?
The derivative of sine x is cosine x. This can be proved from the limit definition using the identity for sine x plus h and the fundamental limits lim h0 sine h slash h equals 1 and lim h0 cosine h minus 1 slash h equals 0.
What is the derivative of e?
The derivative of e is e. The exponential function is its own derivative, which is one of the key properties that makes e the natural base for exponential functions in calculus.
What is the derivative of ln x?
The derivative of ln x is 1 slash x for x greater than 0. This result follows from the fact that ln ex is the inverse of e, and can be derived using implicit differentiation.
What is the derivative of tan x?
The derivative of tan x is sec superscript 2 x. This can be derived by writing tan x equals sine x slash cosine x and applying the quotient rule.
How do you differentiate f(x) equals a where a is a positive constant?
The derivative is f(x) equals a ln a. This follows from rewriting a as e caret x ln a and applying the chain rule. When a equals e, ln a equals 1, recovering the derivative of e.
What is the derivative of arcsin x?
The derivative of arcsin x is 1 slash square root 1 minus x superscript 2 for x1. This is derived using implicit differentiation. If y equals arcsin and x, then sine y equals x, and differentiating both sides gives dy slash dx equals 1 slash cosine y equals 1 slash square root 1 minus x superscript 2.
What is implicit differentiation?
Implicit differentiation is the technique of differentiating both sides of an equation with respect to x, treating y as a function of x and applying the chain rule whenever y appears. This allows finding dy/dx without first solving for y explicitly.
Use implicit differentiation to find dy/dx for x superscript 2 plus y superscript 2 equals 25.
Differentiate both sides. 2x plus 2y dy/dx equals 0. Solving gives dy/dx equals minus x/y. This represents the slope of the tangent line to the circle at any point, x, y, on it.
When is implicit differentiation especially useful?
It is useful when the equation relating x and y cannot be easily solved for y, such as curves defined by equations like x superscript 3 plus y superscript 3 equals 6xy. It also helps when dealing with inverse trigonometric functions and logarithmic differentiation.
Find dy/dx for sin xy equals x using implicit differentiation.
Differentiating cos xy y plus x dy/dx equals 1. Expanding y cos xy plus x cos xy dy/dx equals 1. Solving dy/dx equals 1 minus y cos xy / x cos xy.
What is logarithmic differentiation and when is it used?
Logarithmic differentiation involves taking the natural log of both sides of y equals f x, then differentiating implicitly. It is especially useful for functions like y equals x or products/quotients of many factors, where direct differentiation would be cumbersome.
How do you find the absolute maximum and minimum of a continuous function on a closed interval, a, b?
Find all critical points of f in a, b, by setting f, x equals 0 and finding where f is undefined. Evaluate f at each critical point and at the endpoints a and b. The largest value is the absolute maximum and the smallest is the absolute minimum.
What is a critical point of a function?
A critical point of f occurs at x equals c where f, c, equals 0 or f, c, does not exist, and c is in the domain of f. Critical points are candidates for local maxima, local minima, or inflection points.
State the first derivative test for local extrema.
If f changes from positive to negative at a critical point c, then f has a local maximum at c. If f changes from negative to positive at c, then f has a local minimum at c. If f does not change sign, c is neither.
State the second derivative test for local extrema.
If f, c, equals 0 and f, c, 0, then f has a local minimum at c. If f, c, equals 0 and f, c, local maximum at c. If f, c, equals 0, the test is inconclusive.
What is the general strategy for solving optimization problems in calculus?
Identify the quantity to optimize. Write it as a function of one variable using given constraints, find critical points by setting the derivative to 0, and verify the result is a max or min using the first or second derivative test, or endpoint analysis.
What are related rates problems?
Related rates problems involve finding the rate at which one quantity changes by relating it to other quantities whose rates of change are known. You write an equation linking the variables, differentiate both sides with respect to time t, substitute known values, and solve for the unknown rate.
A spherical balloon is inflated so that its volume increases at 10 cubic centimeters per second. How fast is the radius increasing when r equals 5 centimeters?
V equals 4/3 pi r superscript 3, so dv/dt equals 4 pi r superscript 2 dr/dt. Substituting 10 equals 4 pi 25 dr/dt, giving dr/dt equals 1/10 pi is almost equal to 0.0318 centimeters per second.
A 10-foot ladder slides down a wall. If the base moves out at 1 foot per second, how fast does the top slide down when the base is 6 feet from the wall?
By the Pythagorean theorem, x superscript 2 plus y superscript 2 equals 100. Differentiating 2x dx/dt plus 2y dy slash dt equals 0. With x equals 6, y equals 8, dx slash dt equals 1, dy slash dt equals minus 6/8 equals minus 0.75 feet per second. The negative sign indicates the top is sliding downward.
What does the mean value theorem state?
If f is continuous on a, b, and differentiable on a, b, then there exists at least one c in a, b, such that f, c, equals f, b, minus f, a, / b minus a. Geometrically, there is a point where the tangent line is parallel to the secant line through the endpoints.
What is the difference between concave up and concave down?
A function is concave up on an interval if f, x, 0 there, the graph curves upward like a cup. It is concave down if f, x, 0, the graph curves downward like a cap. An inflection point is where concavity changes.
What is an indefinite integral?
The indefinite integral f, x, dx represents the family of all antiderivatives of f, x. It is written as f, x, plus c, where f, x, equals f, x, and c is the constant of integration representing the family of vertical shifts.
What is a definite integral?
The definite integral f, x, dx represents the signed area between the graph of f and the x-axis from x equals a to x equals b. Areas above the axis are positive and areas below are negative.
State the power rule for integration.
Integral x dx equals x superscript 1 / n plus 1, plus c for n is not equal to minus 1. When n equals minus 1, the integral is integral 1 / x dx equals ln x plus c. This rule reverses the power rule for differentiation.
What is integral e dx?
Integral e dx equals e plus c. The exponential function is its own antiderivative, just as it is its own derivative. More generally, integral e dx equals 1 / a e plus c.
What is integral sin x dx?
Integral sine x dx equals minus cosine x plus c. This follows because the derivative of minus cosine x is sine x. Similarly, integral cosine x dx equals sine x plus c.
What is integral cos x dx?
Integral cosine x dx equals sine x plus c. This is verified by differentiating d/dx sine x equals cosine x. These trigonometric integrals are among the most fundamental in calculus.
What is integral sec superscript 2 x dx?
Integral sec superscript 2 x dx equals tan x plus c. This follows directly from the fact that d/dx tan x equals sec superscript 2 x.
What is integral 1 / x dx?
Integral 1 / x dx equals ln x plus c. The absolute value is needed because ln x is only defined for x greater than 0, but 1 / x is also defined for x less than 0. For x less than 0, d/dx ln minus x equals 1 / x.
State the first fundamental theorem of calculus.
If f is continuous on a, b, and f is any antiderivative of f, then integral f x dx equals f b minus f a. This connects differentiation and integration, allowing us to evaluate definite integrals using antiderivatives.
State the second fundamental theorem of calculus.
If f is continuous on an interval containing a, then the function f x equals integral f t dt is differentiable and f x equals f x. This says that the derivative of an integral with a variable upper limit recovers the original function.
If f x equals integral cos t superscript 2 dt, what is f x?
By the second fundamental theorem of calculus, f x equals cos x superscript 2. We simply substitute the upper limit variable into the integrand. No antiderivative of cos t superscript 2 is needed.
How do you apply the FTC when the upper limit is a function, such as integral caret x superscript 2 f t dt?
Use the chain rule combined with the second fundamental theorem, d/dx, integral caret g x f t dt equals f g x g x. For example, d/dx, integral caret x superscript 2 sin t dt equals sin x superscript 2 2x.
Why is the fundamental theorem of calculus considered so important?
It unifies the two main branches of calculus, differential and integral, by showing their inverse processes. It provides a practical method for computing definite integrals without using Riemann sums, and it establishes that every continuous function has an antiderivative.
What is integration by substitution, U-substitution?
U-substitution reverses the chain rule. You identify a part of the integrand as u equals g, x, compute do equals g, x, dx, and rewrite the integral in terms of u. After integrating in u, substitute back to express the result in terms of x.
Evaluate integral 2x cos x superscript 2 dx using substitution.
Let u equals x superscript 2, so do equals 2x dx. The integral becomes integral cosine u, do equals sine u, plus c equals sine x superscript 2 plus c.
How does U-substitution work with definite integrals?
When using substitution on a definite integral, you must change the limits of integration to match the new variable u. If u equals g, x, the new limits are u, a, and u, b. This eliminates the need to substitute back to x.
What is integration by parts?
Integration by parts is based on the product rule and states integral u dv equals uv minus integral v do. It is used when the integrand is a product of two functions and direct integration is difficult. Choose u and dv so that integral v do is simpler than the original integral.
What is the Lie-8 rule for integration by parts?
Lie-8 is a guideline for choosing u in integration by parts. In order of priority, L logarithmic, I inverse trig, algebraic, T trigonometric, E exponential. The function higher on this list is usually chosen as u.
Evaluate integral x e dx using integration by parts.
Let u equals x, dv equals e dx. Then do equals dx, v equals e. Applying the formula, integral x e dx equals x e minus integral e dx equals x e minus e plus c equals e, x minus 1, plus c.
Evaluate integral ln x dx using integration by parts.
Let u equals ln x, dv equals dx. Then do equals 1 slash x, dx, v equals x. So integral ln x dx equals x ln x minus integral x 1 slash x dx equals x ln x minus x plus c equals x ln x minus 1 plus c.
When do you need to apply integration by parts twice?
Sometimes the resulting integral after one application of parts still requires parts again, such as integral x superscript 2 e dx. In some cases, like integral Sn x dx, applying parts twice produces the original integral, and you can solve algebraically for it.
What is the method of partial fractions used for an integration?
Partial fractions decomposes a rational function p, x, slash q, x, into simpler fractions that can be integrated individually. The denominator cube, x, is factored, and the fraction is split into terms with linear or irreducible quadratic denominators.
How do you evaluate integral sin superscript 2, x, dx?
Use the half-angle identity, sine superscript 2, x equals 1 minus cosine 2x slash 2. Then integral sine superscript 2, x dx equals integral 1 minus cosine 2x slash 2 dx equals x slash 2 minus sine 2x slash 4 plus c.
How do you find the area between two curves y equals f, x, and y equals g, x?
The area is integral f, x, minus g, x, dx, where a and b are the x values where the curves intersect. When f, x, greater than or equal to g, x, on a, b, this simplifies to integral f, x, minus g, x, dx.
What is the first step in finding the area between two curves?
Find the points of intersection by setting f, x equals g, x, and solving for x. These give the limits of integration. Then determine which function is on top in each subinterval.
How do you find the area between curves expressed as functions of y?
If the curves are x equals f, y, and x equals g, y, the area is integral underscore c caret d, f, y, minus g, y, dy, where c and d are the y values of intersection. This approach is useful when the region is more naturally described horizontally.
Find the area between y equals x superscript 2 and y equals x.
Set x superscript 2 equals x, giving x equals 0 and x equals 1. Since x greater than or equal to x superscript 2 on 0, 1, area equals integral superscript 1, x minus x superscript 2, dx equals x superscript 2 slash 2 minus x superscript 3 slash 3, superscript 1 equals 1/2 minus 1 slash 3 equals 1/6.
What if the curves cross each other within the interval of integration?
You must split the integral at each crossing point. On each subinterval, determine which function is greater and integrate f, x, minus g, x, accordingly. Failing to split will cause positive and negative areas to cancel.
When is it advantageous to integrate with respect to y instead of x?
When the curves are easier to express as functions of y, or when integrating with respect to x would require splitting into multiple integrals. For example, the area between x equals y superscript 2 and x equals y plus 2 is simpler to compute with horizontal slices.
What is the disk method for finding volumes of revolution?
When a region is revolved around an axis and the cross-sections are solid disks, the volume is v equals pi integral r x superscript 2 dx, where r x is the distance from the curve to the axis of rotation. Each disk has area pi r superscript 2.
What is the washer method for volumes of revolution?
When the region has a hole revolved between two curves, the volume is v equals pi integral r x superscript 2 minus r x superscript 2 dx, where r x is the outer radius and r x is the inner radius. This subtracts the inner cylinder from the outer one.
What is the shell method for volumes of revolution?
The shell method uses cylindrical shells, v equals 2 pi integral xf x dx when revolving around the y-axis. Each shell has radius x, height f, x, and thickness dx. This method is useful when the disk/washer method would be difficult to set up.
When should you use the shell method instead of the disk/washer method?
Use shells when the axis of revolution is perpendicular to the axis of the variable of integration. For example, when revolving y equals f, x, around the y-axis, shells, integrating dx, are often easier than disks, which would require solving for x in terms of y.
Find the volume of the solid obtained by revolving y equals square root x from x equals 0 to x equals 4 about the x-axis.
Using the disk method, v equals pi integral square root x superscript 2 dx equals pi integral x dx equals pi x superscript 2 slash 2 equals pi 8 equals 8 pi.
How do you set up the disk method when revolving about the y-axis?
Express x as a function of y, and integrate with respect to y, v equals pi integral underscore c caret d, x y, superscript 2 dy. The limits c and d are the y values bounding the region.
Find the volume when y equals x superscript 2, from x equals 0 to x equals 2, is revolved around the y-axis using the shell method.
V equals 2 pi integral superscript 2x x superscript 2 dx equals 2 pi integral superscript 2x superscript 3 dx equals 2 pi x slash 4 superscript 2 equals 2 pi 4 equals 8 pi.
How do you handle volumes of revolution about a line other than the x or y axis?
Adjust the radius function to account for the distance to the new axis. For example, revolving about y equals k instead of y equals 0 changes the radius to f x minus k in the disk method. The shell method radius similarly becomes x minus h when revolving about x equals h.
What does L'Hopital's rule state?
If lim xc f x slash g x produces the indeterminate form 0/0 or infinity/infinity, then the limit equals lim xc f x slash g x, provided this latter limit exists. The rule can be applied repeatedly if the result is still indeterminate.
What are the indeterminate forms where L'Hopital's rule can be applied?
L'Hopital's rule applies directly to 0/0 and infinity/infinity. Other indeterminate forms like 0 infinity, infinity minus infinity, 0, 1 caret infinity, and infinity must first be algebraically rewritten into 0/0 or infinity/infinity form before applying the rule.
Evaluate lim x0 sin x/x using L'Hopital's rule.
This is 0 out of 0 form. Applying L'Hopital's rule, lim x0 the cos x slash 1 equals cos 0 equals 1. This confirms the well-known fundamental limit.
Evaluate lim x infinity x/e using L'Hopital's rule.
This is infinity/infinity form. Applying L'Hopital's, lim x infinity 1/e equals 0. This shows that exponential growth dominates linear growth as x infinity.
How do you handle the indeterminate form 0 infinity with L'Hopital's rule?
Rewrite the product f x g x as a quotient either f x /1/g x or g x /1/f x, converting it to 0/0 or infinity/infinity form. Then apply L'Hopital's rule. For example, lim x0 x ln x equals lim x0 ln x /1/x.
Evaluate lim x0 x ln x.
Rewrite as lim x0 ln x /1/x, which is minus infinity/infinity. L'Hopital's gives lim x0 1/x minus 1/x superscript 2 equals lim x0 minus x equals 0.
What is an infinite series?
An infinite series is the sum sigma n equals 1 to infinity, a equals a plus a2 plus a3 plus midline horizontal ellipsis. It converges if the sequence of partial sums s equals a plus a2 plus midline horizontal ellipsis plus a approaches a finite limit as n infinity. Otherwise, it diverges.
What is the geometric series and when does it converge?
A geometric series has the form sigma n equals 0 to infinity, r. It converges to a slash 1 minus r when r 1 and diverges when r greater than or equal to 1. For example, sigma n equals 0 to infinity 1/2 equals 1/1 minus 1/2 equals 2.
State the divergence test, nth term test.
If lim n infinity a is not equal to 0, then the series sigma a diverges. However, if the limit equals 0, the test is inconclusive, the series may converge or diverge. This test can only prove divergence, never convergence.
What is the p-series and when does it converge?
A p-series is sigma n equals 1 to infinity 1/n. It converges if p greater than 1 and diverges if p less than or equal to 1. For example, sigma 1/n superscript 2 converges, p equals 2, but the harmonic series sigma 1/n diverges, p equals 1.
State the integral test for series convergence.
If f(x) is positive, continuous, and decreasing for x greater than or equal to 1, and a equals f(n), then sigma n equals 1 to infinity, a converges if and only if integral infinity f(x) dx converges. The series and integral either both converge or both diverge.
State the comparison test for series.
If 0 less than or equal to a less than or equal to b for all n and sigma b converges, then sigma a converges. Conversely, if 0 less than or equal to b less than or equal to a and sigma b diverges, then sigma a diverges. You compare to a known series.
State the ratio test for series convergence.
Compute L equals lim n infinity a/a. If L, the series converges absolutely. If L greater than 1, or L equals infinity, the series diverges. If L equals 1, the test is inconclusive. This test works well for series with factorials or exponentials.
State the root test for series convergence.
Compute L equals lim n infinity a(1/n). If L, the series converges absolutely. If L greater than 1, the series diverges. If L equals 1, the test is inconclusive. It is particularly useful when terms involve nth powers.
What is an alternating series and when does it converge?
An alternating series has terms that alternate in sign, sigma -1, b. By the alternating series test, it converges if b is decreasing in lim n infinity, b equals 0. For example, sigma -1 superscript 1/n equals ln 2.
What is the difference between absolute and conditional convergence?
A series converges absolutely if sigma a converges. It converges conditionally if sigma a converges but sigma a diverges. Absolute convergence implies convergence, but not vice versa. The alternating harmonic series is conditionally convergent.
What is a Taylor series?
The Taylor series of a function f centered at x equals a is sigma n equals 0 to infinity f a/n x minus a. It represents f(x) as an infinite polynomial, valid within the interval of convergence. It generalizes the idea of approximating functions with polynomials.
What is a Maclaurin series?
A Maclaurin series is a Taylor series centered at a equals 0, sigma n equals 0 to infinity f 0/n x. Common examples include the series for e sine x and cosine x. It is simply the special case of a Taylor series at the origin.
What is the Maclaurin series for e?
E equals sigma n equals 0 to infinity x/n equals 1 plus x superscript 2/2 plus x superscript 3/3 plus midline horizontal ellipsis. This series converges for all real values of x, radius of convergence r equals infinity. It is one of the most important series in mathematics.
What is the Maclaurin series for sin x?
Sin x equals sigma n equals 0 to infinity minus 1 x superscript 2 superscript 1/2n plus 1 equals x minus x superscript 3/3 plus x/5 minus midline horizontal ellipsis. This series converges for all x and contains only odd powers of x, reflecting that sine is an odd function.
What is the Maclaurin series for cos x?
Cos x equals sigma n equals 0 to infinity minus 1 x superscript 2/2n equals 1 minus x superscript 2/2 plus x/4 minus midline horizontal ellipsis. This converges for all x and contains only even powers, reflecting that cosine is an even function.
What is the radius of convergence of a power series?
The radius of convergence R is the value such that the power series sigma A, x minus c, converges for x minus c, R. It can be found using the ratio test, R equals lim n infinity, a slash a, or R equals 1 slash lim a, caret, 1 slash n. Convergence at x minus c equals R must be checked separately.